Welcome back to the Daily QCI. This episode, coaching is how leadership scales. So let's talk about it. Most leaders eventually hit a ceiling. At first, progress becomes effort, then competence, and then expertise. But at some point, doing more, knowing more, and pushing harder stop working. That's not a failure of character or really a failure in your leadership. It's a failure of leverage. See, coaching is how leaders create leverage. Not motivational coaching. Not how does this make you feel coaching. And definitely not rescuing or fixing disguised as support. Real coaching is a thinking discipline. So here's the fundamental shift that most leaders resist. Leadership stops being about having the answers and starts being about how to help shape others in how they think. Now, not telling them what to think, but teaching how to think. That transition is really uncomfortable, especially for high performers. People who got promoted because they were competent often struggle to stop being solution-oriented. They just jump in. They correct things, fix things, they rescue. It feels helpful. It's probably most efficient in the short term, and it quietly caps organizational growth. Fixing problems solves the immediate issue, but coaching changes the pattern as a whole. Fixing creates dependence, coaching creates capacity. That distinction matters more than almost anything else once you're responsible for more than just your own output. Coaching is not therapy. It's not venting, and it's not just passive listening. Coaching is the intentional use of questions, silence, and structure to help someone see their situation more clearly, take responsibility for their choices, and act with greater agency. That's it. One of the biggest misconceptions about coaching is that it's slow. Good coaching is actually efficient because it prevents the same problems from recurring. Leaders who don't coach end up solving the same issues over and over, just with different names attached. Coaching shifts the burden of thinking back where it belongs. And there's also a courage component here. Coaching requires leaders to tolerate silence, ambiguity, imperfect answers, and the discomfort of not being needed in the moment. Many leaders say they want empowered teams, but few are willing to stop being the hero. Influence comes from restraint, not control. When you coach, you're implicitly saying, I believe you can think through this. I believe you can learn. I believe you can own your own outcome. When you fix, you're saying, I don't trust this to go well without me. People feel that difference immediately. Coaching also reinforces culture. The questions leaders ask repeatedly shape what matters. What's the goal? What's our vision? What's getting in the way? What have you tried? What are our core values? What do they look like in action? What's your next step? Those questions signal standards, priorities, and responsibility far more clearly than any blanket value statement. Because culture isn't what leaders say. It's how leaders engage. Now, there's one final misconception worth dismantling. Coaching is not about being hands-off. It's about being hands-on with thinking, not execution. Clear expectations still matter. Standards still matter, maybe even more. Accountability matters. Coaching doesn't remove responsibility, it sharpens it. Leaders who scale well don't disappear. They just show up different. They ask better questions. They speak less and listen more strategically. They resist the urge to prove their value by solving. And over time, something changes. The organization stops bottlenecking at them. That's what scaling actually looks like.